Are you ready to rewind? Take a nostalgia-filled ride back to a simpler time. It's Acid Wash Memories, a retro pop culture celebration. And now your hosts, Joe Murata and Michael Quinn.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode number 104 of Acid Wash Memories, a retro pop culture celebration. Today we are opening up the vault to talk about that time that Bret the Hitman Hart was on the Adventures of Sinbad. Yes, that's real. I'm Joe Murata, and the very disgusted man with me is Michael Quinn. How you doing, Michael?
Howdy. It's time to see the Commandant.
Yes, the Commandant. That'll be coming up as well. Folks, if this happens to be your first time around, listen to another episode, because this is a vault episode. This is for the hardcore fans.
Nobody beats the vault.
Nobody beats the vault. What we do every now and then, when basically we need a week off for one reason or another, is we go back into the archives of our retro wrestling podcast, where we would sometimes get into topics that weren't entirely wrestling related.
Yes, they were wrestling adjacent.
Wrestling adjacent, right. But if you are sticking around here, never fear, because we will have more non-vault episodes in the future. However, if you are listening to this lineally, very important announcement, I'm making it right now.
Important.
We will not be doing an episode next week.
Yes.
Okay, so again, if you're listening in order, if this is the newest one that you're listening to.
If this is 6 years from now, we're sorry for even bringing this up.
Yeah.
Just skip past this part.
This is for the people listening currently here in 2025. We are going to be off entirely next week. We will be back after that for more episodes. Anyway, so we used to do a show. We've been doing it since 2016. It's called Our Vantage Point Retro Wrestling Podcast. Some of you guys know that, right?
Yes.
And the wrestling and then the other stuff. And this was one of the other stuff episodes.
Yes.
This is from episode 140 of OVP, which was July of 2019. 5.5 years ago.
Wow.
Bret Hart happens to be my favorite wrestler of all the times.
Yes.
He is not Quinn's. But
I really like the Commandant, so I was into this.
So the Commandant was a very short-lived, thankfully, character in the World Wrestling Federation in 1997.
He didn't even wrestle. He wasn't even a wrestler.
He could barely act, is the thing. The reason he was ever in the WWF is because Bret Hart met him while filming this show in 1996.
And it's very funny. It's like a Viking thing or something.
Yeah, he's a Viking. So the Adventures of Sinbad, which we will explain in what you're about to hear, but short version here, just to give you some new content, right? You know those syndicated mid-90s action-adventure series?
Yeah, where Kelly Kapowski's a secret agent, or like all these other weird-ass shows.
Or Lucy Lawless as Xena.
Yeah.
Or Kevin Sorbo as Hercules. This is in that vein.
The stuff that would be on like WB11 but syndicated, because then it might be on 9 also.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Just a syndicated piece of crap
It's
cheap.
On at 1:30 in the afternoon on a Sunday.
Exactly. This was one of those. It was on from 96 to 98, and Bret Hart, who was a wrestler his whole professional career, right? That's all he had ever done since 1977 or so. In 1994, he got into acting. Now, we've talked about Hulk Hogan's acting on this show already. We've done a bunch of Vault episodes featuring Hulk Hogan. We have yet to talk about Bret Hart's acting career, which got started with Lonesome Dove.
Career. In quotes.
And then eventually a guest spot on The Simpsons, which I think most people do know about.
That's the most notable thing, and he's not even like physically in it.
No, and it's very brief as well, and he's doing like a fake voice. However, somewhere along the line, his agent got him this part in this one episode.
Vaunted part.
Yes, called The Ties That Bind of The Adventures of Sinbad from 1996. Quinn and I, as we often did, watched the entire thing separately.
Unfortunately.
We took separate notes.
Yes.
We then combined our notes, and we're going to run you through the entire episode of Sinbad, The Ties That Bind, featuring Bret the Hitman Hart and, of course, Quinn, the Commandant.
The Commandant.
Yes. Yeah. That's it, really. That's what this episode is.
That's what it is.
This is a Vault episode.
Yeah.
So we're going to obviously sit here the whole time and watch it.
Yep.
And
listen. Yeah.
No, we're going to do that.
We're going to watch the audio, the boops.
We're going to watch the waveform.
The waveform, yeah.
And we'll see you on the other side, though, if you want to hear us in 2025 again for some reason. Let's hit it. And welcome back, wrestling fans, to our Vantage Point, the Retro Wrestling Podcast. And we've got something to review, obviously, Quinn. That'll be fun.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, unfortunately. Should we even say who's in this, or are we just going to let this flow as it flows? You tell me.
I think you should tell them first what they're in for, in case they want to, not be in for it.
Because you just want to shut it off right now.
Yeah.
All right. Well, there's two things that seem unrelated, but they're going to become related. Number one is back in the mid-'90s, there seemed to be a wave of these syndicated-only action-adventure shows.
Yeah, it's like Hercules or Xena Warrior Princess.
And a lot of them
crap.
There was a lot of shows like that, and if it wasn't in that vein, it was in like the Outer Galaxy vein, you know, like there's Stargate and all that stuff.
Stargate,
right.
yeah.
And they were usually, in our area, we would find these on our local affiliates like the UPN.
Yeah,
and stuff like that.
Channel 9, Channel 11,
right,
the WB.
These were syndicated shows that, you know, any affiliate or station that wanted to pick them up, they would pick them up. Generally cheaply produced.
Yeah, if one of the big networks showed it, it always was like 3 p.m. on Saturday.
Yeah, right.
When nobody gives a shit.
Just
It's
a
in
death
between
slot.
probably some fucking like shitty like local talk show.
Right.
Like just about like nothing.
Right. And that's not a good time slot, you know. Yeah. And there was Hercules, like we mentioned, there was Xena. There was another one that I never remembered. It was called The Adventures of Sinbad. Now, not Sinbad the comedian.
No, not that. It's no Mandela effect going on here.
Not Shazam Sinbad, you know, allegedly. The Adventures of Sinbad the Sailor.
Yeah.
And there was a show that was apparently on from 1996 until 1998.
It's incredible that it even went on that long after seeing what we saw just now.
I never saw this, Quinn. Were you aware of it in the 90s?
Maybe I was, but
I don't remember
I didn't really care.
Now, interestingly enough, when I told my wife what we were going to be reviewing, I told her, you know, The Adventures of Sinbad. She's like, I used to watch that. I was like, what? And she's from Ecuador. She's not from the U.S. I was like, you in the 90s, Sinbad the Sailor, like the action adventure. She's like, yeah, I used to watch it with my grandmother.
Yeah,
she's a little bit younger than we are.
So now I don't need to only feel bad for the U.S. I have to feel bad for the rest of the world for having to see this shit.
Latin America, all these places. But anyway, this is The Adventures of Sinbad, episode number 8. Now, I said something else very unrelated to this would happen. Well, in 1996, Bret Hart.
Yes, Bret Hart. Remember him?
He decided to take a bit of a hiatus from wrestling after WrestleMania 12, did their foreign tours, and decided for whatever reason, I don't know why, to pursue a career as an actor.
Now, Bret, if I recall seeing interviews with him, he's very serious about this, which is why it always cracked me up, because once you dig into
anything that he ever did,
filmography, I guess.
It's all bad.
It's horrible, and this is a prime example.
Yeah, and he had done Lonesome Dove before this, and I think that was kind of what got him thinking, oh, you know, I could be an actor. I think I'd be good at this. He's not. And he apparently happened himself into an episode of The Adventures of Sinbad.
Why anybody would volunteer to be in this show? It's already horrible on its own without Bret Hart.
On its own cognizance.
Let's just enhance its shittiness.
And it's episode number 8. It's called The Ties That Bind. And if you want to watch it, it's actually... This is how much people care about it. Just on YouTube, the whole episode for free.
Adventures of Sinbad, episode 8.
Yep, November 16th.
Season 1.
Yep, November 16th, 96 is when this aired. So this is right after Bret came back for Survivor Series.
Yeah.
I'm sure it was taped over the spring or summer of 96. And I say we get right into it, Quinn. We're going to give you the whole rundown, the plot line, the lines, all that stuff, Quinn.
First off, I have to say, what have we even gotten ourselves into, Joe? Because this thing starts up and...
Woo!
It just doesn't let go.
Nope, it doesn't. It's a cold open with a lady and a kid walking through trees, and she's holding a bird.
She's dressed like Lady Hercules, and the kid is just a big orange sweatshirt on. I swear, he doesn't have anything to make it seem like he's part of some era or anything. Just a big fucking orange sweatshirt.
Apparently, this takes place. By the way, I looked it up in the Middle East. Which you would never guess.
Doesn't look like it.
It doesn't look like it.
Looks like Canada.
Yeah, because it was filmed in Canada.
Right.
And the lady asked the kid if she's following him, and he nods and points at the bird.
Are you following me?
And no shit, he's following her. I thought he was with her.
Right, she didn't seem to mind the whole time.
That was the weird part. I thought the bird was following him, not the fucking kid.
Now, we find out, Quinn, that the bird's name is Dermot because she tells the kid that.
His name's Dermot.
He wants the bird to fly, so she lets the bird fly, as we see some clearly stock footage of some other bird flying around for a while, and then a close-up of Dermot itself.
What am I even watching?
Know.
What is this show?
And then we get
like 30 seconds. I'm like, what the fuck?
We're watching a bird fly around. We get an actual bird's eye view.
I couldn't believe they actually did that.
They did.
Too, by the way. This isn't the era of drones. That's actually how the fuck did they do that?
Helicopter?
I don't know.
Maybe
like a remote control.
A kite?
Yeah, I don't know.
So anyway, now some villains ominously show up in Viking helmets, and they say shit like, "Thy redhead maiden of Vashi swathi matey, arr, be hardy," or whatever they say, you know what I mean?
The red-headed maiden It has been a long journey.
Total dorks. Wearing like blankets and plastic shields. Stupid Viking. They look horrible.
Viking hats.
Yeah.
And then, of course, Bret Hart appears, and he seems to be the second in command, at least, and is wearing, like, your aunt's throw rug or something.
Yeah, literally has, like, a carpet on his back or something.
True.
It's like old carpet.
And he's
like shit.
His first line is,
God don't make mistakes.
so then he starts to grapple with the little kid as the lady draws her sword.
So basically, Bret Hart is just, like, a goon here.
Yeah.
And he looks like a complete idiot.
The
like,
Viking
It
horns.
just looks so stupid.
The rug.
I swear he's got, like, sweatpants on.
I think he does.
Like, nobody... What are the
Champion sweatpants?
What the fuck is the budget on this? Like, they couldn't even,
10.
like... Yeah, like, they didn't... what did they say? Wear your own... Like,
Bring your own clothes.
Bring your own clothes. We got the blankets, and we'll go for it. You know?
Buy a plastic sword on your way in, you know? And now it's a good time to just clear all this up. The redheaded lady's name is Maeve.
Maeve. That doesn't sound like a name from the Middle Ages or whatever
doesn't.
this is.
No, it
or whatever they say
sounds
it is.
like a middle-aged lady's name, maybe. The Viking boss requests, seize her, but do not harm her. Very stock.
The accents are so amazing. Like they really thought they were making like something good here.
Something golden here.
Seize her,
Stay away, Dermot.
but do not harm her.
Dermot the bird watches from a branch.
How do you know his name is Dermot?
Because they said it. She said it to the kid.
I didn't even hear
She
that.
literally says his name is Dermot.
I was too caught up into why is thy child here and the Shakespearean bullshit.
So terrible. So Dermot's watching as Bret picks up the doofy sweatshirt kid and tells him to stay out of harm's way, and he sits him on a stump. Maeve then calls the Vikings hornheads and fights off all the Vikings with nice Foley artist sound effects.
Yeah. It's all slow and terrible, too.
bad.
It's like a very, like, slow-paced
Lethargic.
fight. Yeah.
Like if Gorilla Monsoon was here, he'd be like, Maeve looks a little lethargic,
Yeah,
Jess.
exactly. Exactly. It does. It doesn't look like a fierce battle,
No.
like some woman, like, trying to escape with her life.
Right. It just looks like she's bored.
Yeah. And she's making all these quips. I hate it.
The kid jumps on Bret's back, so Bret picks him up in like a side slam position, but unfortunately he just puts him down gently and says, I told you to stay.
Is this kid Beans or
It's
Sty
not
or whatever?
No, it's not one of Bret's kids. I don't think.
I wouldn't be surprised, actually, if Brett got one of his kids involved in this.
I thought my daughter Beans would be good for this.
Yeah.
Hey, Blade, do you have a sternum? Yeah. So Bret then throws the kid to the ground and very politely tells him, oh, it's too dangerous here. Stay out of the way.
Honestly, it feels like they were obligated to give Brett lines here because no scene ever would they clip to the goon telling the kid to sit down.
Look all
like,
nice.
Yeah, like that's not. You just the goon's just like, like not even anything. He'd be like,
He should have the kid in the front face lock.
like he would
really.
have just grunted. Is my point?
Right,
Like,
yeah.
There wouldn't actually be written lines for the goon to say.
Right. Meanwhile, Maeve is still kicking everyone's ass as the boss Viking is watching on.
These dorks are having way too much trouble with like one girl. Like
That's how we know they're jobbers.
yeah, seriously, it's embarrassing.
They're jobber goons. They're putties, essentially, Finally, Bret's had enough of this shit, and he grabs Maeve by the waist. Well, he's got experience there. This allows the other Vikings to do a Pearl Harbor job or maybe a Nordic Sea job.
Yeah,
and
well, that's what they call it over there.
and knock her out.
Yeah.
So the dramatic music just stops, and Dermot the Hawk makes some noise as the kid runs away, and Bret tosses Maeve over his shoulder. We go to the opening credits now, and you get mainly shots of Sinbad doing flips and jumping off things and shit like that.
He's essentially a poor man Zach Morris acting like Aladdin. The music sucks. It's all bad.
I know,
it's horrible.
CGI dinosaur, a fat old sailor man.
Yeah, it's awful.
A rock monster, greasy fake Paul Rudd.
It's terrible. There's literally nobody in this that is or was a bigger star than Bret Hart. And that's saying something,
You're
honestly.
right, it's true.
Like, I can't even believe I'm saying this. Bret Hart is a bigger star than everyone in this show. How is that even possible?
And by the way, Quinn, in the credits, Dermot as himself.
Dermot might be a bigger star than the rest of these other jabronis, too.
It's a name we're going to remember. You're going to take that name away from this.
Dermot away from
This intro, though, is exactly what I expected it to be for some mid-90s action adventure, cheaply produced. So we fade in now to show Sinbad and friends having some kind of a picnic or something.
Can I just note here? There's literally a plate of food on a carpet and
Outside.
it's like outside, like a rug.
Yeah.
And like they just never comment on it. It's kind of like away from them, and it just got like a plate and like an apple, and like that's it. But the carpet's like way too big for the plate.
Right.
Like, what are they carrying around this big fucking rug?
Maybe
Just
it's
so
the
they
same
can
one Bret was wearing.
Stick one plate on it? Like what?
And they make fun of the fat sailor guy for eating a lot, and they name various foods like dates and goat cheese and pickled eel. Sinbad really is dressed like Aladdin, like in a school play or
It's
something.
horrible.
He actually is. He's dressed like the cartoon Aladdin.
Right.
From the cartoon, you know?
One step ahead of the bad guys. Like, I swear he should be like running around the city.
Yeah, this guy's miscast. He'd make a much better Aladdin than a Sinbad.
He's almost like Steve from Full House when he was Aladdin. It's the same. Yeah. Remember that? Remember
yes,
when he was
of course
Aladdin?
I do.
But he wasn't just like Aladdin. Wasn't he Aladdin in the cartoon? But he also like that episode of Full House
where they go to Disney World.
They go to Disney and like.
And DJ sees him as Aladdin.
She's like having a fantasy about her boyfriend or whatever. But yeah,
it's very erotic.
Yeah.
The boy comes running, orange sweatshirt boy, and he tells Sinbad and his friends what happened. Very superb acting, of course, as you obviously expect.
The friend with the hawk?
Maeve.
They took her.
Who took her?
They called themselves Norsemen.
Raiders from the North Country.
Dermot now flies in to confirm things and leads them to the Vikings, so he's like the Lassie of this show.
Yeah, that's it.
Fucking flipper. Back to Bret now, carrying Maeve over his shoulder, and now she's awake, and Quinn, she's mad.
Yeah, maybe because her ass is in the air. By the way, can we just comment about the bird talking to Aladdin just now?
Yeah, he basically just like hawks his way at Aladdin.
My favorite part is he's like, what is it, Dermot? Like, and he's just like, caw, and like, and then he's like, okay, show us, Dermot. And then Dermot responds with another caw, and
it's
he like
real.
leaves. Like,
it's
what?
Great.
How did they put that in there? Are they serious?
It's so good.
Are you sure?
He's sure. Dermot, lead us to her.
So Maeve here tells Bret the fun is over. We get some Emmy Award acting from Bret.
You must do what we say.
Are they trying to translate Bret's poor acting into he doesn't speak English right?
It's like a foreigner.
Yeah, they do that at first.
Yeah.
That's part of it.
You must do what I say.
Yeah, it's horrible.
Maeve arm drags a Viking henchman, and all the Vikings laugh at him. They're like, ha, this asshole.
Goon.
By the way, I'm pretty sure the Viking boss's shield is just a garbage can lid with clay on it or something.
Not sure. That's what I said. I think they're made of plastic.
They are a hunk of plastic.
Yeah.
Now Bret tells Maeve it's good not to make the berserker guy angry here, so she throws a Hadouken at him.
Okay, what the fuck? Like, literally, she starts to, like, conjure a Hadouken. I'm
real.
surprised she didn't yell, like, ha, like, and then she got cut off or whatever.
Yeah,
but,
right.
like, I'm surprised.
I know. Thankfully, Bret ducks out of the way and then holds on to her again.
I like that one of them yells, she's a witch!
Yeah.
Like, it's like Monty Python or some shit.
She's a witch! Yeah. And Maeve says to Bret here, you are a grabby one, aren't you? Which,
what?
Yeah, he is. The henchmen shackle her wrists so she can't throw any more Hadoukens.
That's actually smart.
Yeah.
I was surprised that
they thought of that.
idiots
right?
were able to figure that out.
Well, I mean, if some lady's throwing a Hadouken at me, you got to handle that right away.
If you took Ryu or Ken hostage, you would definitely want to shackle their hands.
Because you don't want to get dragon punched in the face or Hadoukened or anything
you'd
like
also
that.
have to shackle their legs so they can't do the hurricane kick.
True. Bret tells her that they're taking her to their ship where there's a demon. That's all we know about it right now. There's a demon that's holding their ship hostage. Yep.
Yeah.
Sinbad and friends now trek through the woods and wonder why the Vikings are here on land instead of sailing around the fucking ocean like they should be.
I agree with that sentiment.
Right? Apparently one of Sinbad's crew is like the Screech or the Blue Ranger Billy here.
Yeah.
He's like all nerdy about changing directions. He's like, I invented a compass.
I hesitate to mention this, but according to my comprehensive omni-measuring pivot and sight situator, we've changed directions no less than 4 times in the last 30 minutes. I call it compass for short.
The dialogue is all awful, and it sounds like it's dubbed.
I think some of it is. The walking scenes.
Yeah.
Probably because when you film outside, a lot of times
They want to have the boom mic.
Well, no. A lot of times when you're filming on location, there's outside noise that makes your dialogue unusable, so they usually redub it.
I see.
See?
I see.
The more you know. I don't think there's an original idea, though, Quinn, in this whole show. It's all stock.
Honestly, why was this even made?
I don't know. I guess some people watched it, but
that's a podcast that we should put over that should do this. Is how is it made?
Why was this made? Yeah.
How that fucking podcast should cover this.
Really. And like I said, apparently this guy invented the compass. He's all excited, and he explains.
I hate when they do this in shows, by the way. Like, shows that are supposed to take place in the past. There's like, oh, we just happen to have the friend that invented everything.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, I'm sure in some episode he's like, oh, I invented the abacus or some shit.
I forget. He did invent things. I looked him up, and apparently he did invent, let me see, a bicycle, an umbrella, dynamite, and lasers.
Oh, lasers, yes. That practical tool that we use to this day. What?
So they're in the Forsaken Forest, and no one ever gets out of this forest. Sinbad now says Dermot is very difficult to follow, so fuck Dermot, and let's just look for the tracks in the ground. We get a close-up of Dermot looking sad. And
wait, what?
I'm not kidding.
I must have been looking down when that's amazing.
They actually somehow got a shot of
emotional
hawk
Dermot.
looking sad. Emotional Dermot.
Why is his name Dermot? That just doesn't even, like,
it's not a good name.
But I'm just saying, like, the names of, like, the past, you think it'd be, like, Ezekiel or, some kind of, like, classic name.
Methuselah.
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, clip back to the Vikings here, and guess what? They're lost also, so Maeve heckles them about it, which is funny.
Yeah. She's really sassy this whole fucking show.
And it occurs to me, Quinn, Brett's blankie is very close to your old one in color.
Really? Except not yellow, right?
It's a little browner than yours.
Yeah, it's definitely brown. It's not yellow.
No, I know. As you mentioned, Maeve is all sassy with the Viking leader.
At one point, she says they're lost and literally spells it out, L-O-S-T.
Yeah,
like, here's the thing, though, is that they would, if they're, like, in Arabia or where are they again?
The Middle East.
The Middle East, vaguely in the Middle East. Nobody would be speaking English. I don't even think English was a language during this time because it's like before like Germans like went to Britain and all that. Like, it just doesn't even make sense from a historical perspective.
When does it take place? We don't actually know.
I mean, Sinbad, it's always implied that it's like ancient times.
Oh, it's ancient. It's not like the 1500s or anything like that.
No, I don't think so.
I don't know when
Especially
Sinbad
these,
takes place.
There's Vikings. They don't fucking exist like in, then.
Aren't they still around now?
Vikings.
If you look carefully.
You gotta look. You gotta go up north to the North Pole.
Go up north.
You might find some sailing around. They never got rid of their horns.
So Brett, like half smiling here, he's like, you shouldn't talk to him like that. He's an elder. Maeve then asks Brett if he can feel the evil here.
This is stellar acting.
To which Brett responds,
only fear is evil.
You just saying these things just reminds me of just how
it's great.
Horrible.
So good.
That whole, you shouldn't talk to him like that. He's an elder.
It's real. These are verbatim lines.
This is the kind of stuff also that you expect Brett to say to like a child.
Well, I'm not surprised at any of this dialogue. Don't get me wrong. This is all
sad that you're not.
I'm not. Maeve distracts Brett literally with the old, hey, look over there. And I'm not even kidding. She's like, hey, look over there, Brett.
Did you see it? It's right over there.
She starts to run away.
Why do they make him look stupid?
I don't know. So Brett gets a lasso out and like shoots it around her ankles.
This scene was so weird because it's literally he just throws this shit and she just like trips and she's like, ugh, like, and then like Brett's like, come over here. It's like what?
He runs over.
It's like a mace or something he throws out.
Yeah, and he runs over to the fallen Maeve and he's like, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
I can't believe they did this sorry shit.
Canadian sorry.
Yeah, Canadian sorry.
And Brett explains that Thor has chosen Maeve to help them, and she asks who the hell that is, to which Brett responds, he's the great protector, the warrior of warriors, the father of thunder. And I honestly would have called this the best show ever if he then would have said, he's also the excellence of execution.
It almost makes you realize that, like, Brett could have interacted with Hercules in wrestling more.
Oh, they should have.
Like, imagine Brett saying these lines.
And the Berserker.
Yeah.
Also, what a stable.
Oh, my God. Imagine if they all hung out.
Brett talks about reaching Valhalla, but Maeve isn't having any of the shit. Valhalla. Yeah. Like the Norse heaven or something like that.
I know about Valhalla. It's horrible.
When you talk about Valhalla.
What is our lives right now where we're watching something where Bret Hart is talking about Valhalla?
That's great.
It's bizarre.
A Norseman honors his duty to his people and his gods. It's only then he can reach Valhalla.
Back to Sinbad and his dorks as a very convincing snake starts to crawl around.
It literally looks like a stick. Like, I swear.
A green stick.
Yeah. It's horrible.
And then the nerd guy here pontificates about how if shit falls in the forest and blah, blah. And then he says ergo to really drive home this point. He just keeps going on and on.
And he keeps repeating it, too. It's like he like gets a little scared and he's like, if a tree falls in a forest, well, do you hear it? And here's the fucking problem. It's you fucking heard it.
Right.
So whatever you're saying, it doesn't matter. What is he talking about?
He says
why does he keep saying it? He's an idiot.
So he and one of their other friends both fall over suddenly as we clip to the fat guy, and now the snake is wrapping around him entirely.
Seriously, what is this show?
I don't know, Quinn. It's very bad.
What are these scenes? Why are they even here?
I swear, Quinn.
Couldn't they just tell us that they were following them?
Right. Yeah,
like,
we don't need this problem.
They run into 50 fucking things on the way there. And it has nothing to do with the plot. I swear this snake part... This has nothing
to do with it.
Folks, I'm warning you, this has nothing to do with the plot.
No, it doesn't. And I swear, it just looks like a garden hose that they painted with acrylic
it's
paint.
So bad.
Now we go to Sinbad, who finds the trail, and he yells for his crew to come see him. Of course, they're all tripping over that hose, and they're dead or whatever. So we see more shots of this hideous-looking snake stick thing as Dermot watches on, all concerned.
I can't believe there's shots of the fucking
He's
bird.
a character. He's in the credits.
Looking upset. It's a fucking bird. It's a real bird. It's not even like a CG
it's
bird.
A real bird, folks.
It's an actual
it's a hawk.
Fucking hawk. Like, why are we getting emotion shots from a bird?
And then he flies over to Sinbad, who tells him, "Don't get huffy."
The joke's right. I cannot believe he said, "Don't get huffy." Huffy.
Hey, don't get huffy.
So now we clip to the three other friends of Sinbad tied to the tree by the snake hose, and rather comedically, there's an entire skeleton next to them chained to the tree as well.
I swear this skeleton is clearly made of plastic. Like, what is the budget of this show? It's literally like the kind at the Halloween store, and they put a fucking, like, pirate outfit on it or something. It sucks! It absolutely sucks!
So they try to break free, but the hose just clamps down worse.
Which is probably some fucking doof on the side just pulling it. It's so bad.
So they yell for Sinbad, and the thing tightens even worse again. Finally, Sinbad finds them, and we find out, after all this, it's not even actually a snake, it's a plant.
It's a fucking... They're fighting a plant, folks.
So
we're fighting... What is this, a fire flower from Mario?
A Venus fire trap?
Yeah, what the fuck? Like, why is it... And this isn't the first... This is only the first enemy.
Right. So, I swear, I'm not making this up. Sinbad now has a sword fight with a plant.
There's music and comedy sound effects. They literally tried to make the fight with the plant entertaining. He's like, tink, tink, and the plant's like... It's so bad. It's unbelievable. It's a fucking plant.
I'd like to remind everyone at this point now that Bret Hart was considering leaving wrestling
to do shit like this,
to appear in shows where people hack at rubber tubing with plastic swords, because that's somehow better than wrestling. So Sinbad chops away, and finally he kills the hose. Your winner, Sinbad.
I'll give the match 2 stars for creativity. Yeah. Ultimately, Sinbad didn't give the plant any spots to get over.
Oh, he buried the plant.
Oh, he absolutely buried it. It was
in the
awful.
ground.
Yeah.
The men are freed and keep moving now as we cut back to this exchange between Bret and Maeve. Bret says, "You comfortable?" And Maeve says, "Stop asking me that." So Bret says, "I'm sorry." Sorry.
You comfortable?
Stop asking me that.
Sorry.
Bret is very philosophical here and whimsical as Maeve gets all upset that she doesn't know what these Vikings are going to do to her. All the rest of the Vikings keep walking as Maeve drop kicks Bret to no avail.
I can't even... That was so random. She just fucking drop kicks him.
Yep.
Like, out of nowhere, he's like trying to be all nice. He's just like, yeah! Like, it's like drop kick.
But she hits his shield and he responds with, "Nice footwork." And then,
like, he's fucking critiquing. He can't help himself, Joe.
It's great.
It was a good drop kick.
It was pretty good, actually.
I give it a 7 out of 10.
Yeah, 7 out of 10 drop kick. Bret now just stares at her, leading Maeve to say, "Stop looking at me." Bret's response, of course, is, "I'm sorry." And then Maeve says, "Stop saying you're sorry." I'm sorry.
she literally laughs.
Yeah, it's great.
It's actually pretty funny.
Stop looking at me.
Sorry.
Stop saying you're sorry.
Sorry.
And then she wants to know why Bret isn't all rough and gruff like the other Vikings. He says it's just the way he is, so they start flirting for a while because, well, Bret Hart.
Yeah.
Bret Hart's got to flirt with the women. We find out, Quinn, that Bret's name is Eolf.
What? I spelled it E space Alf.
It's the same thing.
Eolf.
And he says, they used to call me Little Eolf, but no more.
I can't believe that he threw that fucking line. I used to be Little Eolf, and then I beat all the big guys,
now
so they could
Eolf.
just be a big Eolf. He's not even the biggest one, by the way.
The leader is.
Yeah.
She says that Bret's a good man, but Bret says he's sorry. He can't let her go. So she uses some magic, and she starts to make Bret levitate.
Because Bret makes really dumb faces.
But then the boss Viking and company come back, and she puts Bret down from the levitation. She demands to know what they're going to do with her. The Viking boss here tells Bret to put a gag on her. He reluctantly does. But as he does this, he explains that they need her. They need her, Quinn, to help free them from the demon.
Demon.
It's very important here.
Gilly demon.
Gillen. Yeah.
I have no idea.
Back to Sinbad and his crew walking through the weeds as we cut to Sinbad, who is now caught in a ridiculously large spider web.
It's literally just a bunch of string and a fake kind of web you get from like the Halloween store.
Yeah.
It's so bad.
It's so fake.
Why does this happen? They're following why are the Vikings not running into any of this shit?
Well, because they're in the Forsaken Forest.
But they are too. They're following their trail.
Oh, yeah, good point. Yeah,
What?
why are the Vikings fine?
Why does this keep happening?
Maybe it's the demon.
It's just an excuse to give Sinbad something to do while Bret flirts with Maeve.
That's true. Very
honestly.
good point. Yep. So Sinbad quips, today is just one sticky situation after another.
This show sucks.
What
it's
a horrible
so bad.
line.
That's a horrible line.
His friends arrive and they make jokes about it, and then the fat guy gets stuck in the net as well.
Please end this. Joe, Sinbad is worse than Bret. Like, I don't know how. Like, he's hideous. This fucking guy, did he ever even get a job after this?
Yeah, I think he had a couple of bit parts. Yeah, he did.
I guess he never got the lead ever again.
I wouldn't think so, Quinn. So the web is moving, and as they look up, Quinn, a giant tarantula is placed, like, literally just, it's in front of the camera lens.
Okay, so here's the thing, Joe. It's not even just, like, placed in front. It's like they filmed it in front of a green screen really close.
Yes.
And then they superimpose the green screen tarantula, like, onto the fucking, like, scene.
It looks horrible.
It looks really bad.
Really bad. So they throw some knives at it to no avail, and then they just switch gears and cut the web down before leaving.
Why did this even happen?
This whole scene, you mean?
It's just, again, it's just a waste of time.
Yeah, it literally doesn't help.
It's just so they have something to do while Maeve and Bret flirt and, like, walk to the boat.
That's
or wherever
all
they're
it
going.
is, right? Yeah, that's literally it.
It's so stupid. It's just it literally is because the show's called Sinbad and we didn't write a story for him this episode. Like,
yeah, right, because really Bret's the main character in this one with her.
Guest star Bret Hart.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Dermot's flying around as we cut to a shot of a beach where the Vikings...
A lot of this Dermot flying around.
A lot of Dermot.
He's a bigger star than fucking Sinbad also.
Probably.
Dermot's
better
probably
actor.
a better actor. I was just going to say, yeah, he's like way better. He has like fucking emotion shots and stuff. How is Dermot the Bird? You know, honestly, I want to give some credit to Dermot the Bird because
let's.
Here's the thing: if Dermot the Bird doesn't even fucking know he's in a show,
that's
honestly,
a very good point.
He has no. He's just here,
right?
Like, you know
they
what
just
I mean?
Brought him here. He doesn't have a choice.
He doesn't have a choice. I think we should put Dermot the Bird on the fucking banner on the group just for like, appreciation.
You know what? Dermot needs to join the banner.
Yeah,
excellent acting here.
Yeah.
Did he win an Emmy? Because he should have. Damn it!
Best animal performance of the year.
That's it.
Definitely.
So the Vikings and Maeve have arrived on the beach here, and they want to find some food and take a bath in the water or something, as Bret now gives some speech about how, you know, it's been a cursed voyage. Bret has his arm around a hot girl with a handkerchief in her mouth while wearing a Viking hat and a blanket. That's just the most Bret Hart in an actor thing I've ever seen.
Yeah, I mean, it's up there with Bret holding the gun to the person on the couch thing.
Yeah.
It's horrible.
Right. Also, he's sorry still, by the way.
He just keeps saying it.
He's very sorry that they have to do this.
You know, I swear he just said sorry a lot on set, and it became like an in-joke.
With
and they're
the
like,
writers.
why don't we write it in? It's really funny. Like, it'll make this
sorry.
Yeah. Okay, I'll say sorry a lot.
It's funny that I say sorry.
Yeah.
He finds some flowers for Maeve. She doesn't want them though, and she notices Dermot, and she telepathically talks to Dermot. Quinn.
The whole storyline stinks. I can't even believe they threw the fucking telepathic. Why is she so magical? Hadouken.
She's a sorcerer, I think.
Fucking floating and talking to animals.
She can do
what
it all.
even is she?
She's a Scottish sorceress, according
you think
to
a sorceress?
That's what they say.
Why is she Scottish and she's in the Middle East?
She's Scottish.
They say that?
Yeah.
What?
In the description of her character. I looked into this,
Scottish?
She's Scottish. Celtic. Excuse me, not Scottish. Celtic.
What the hell is she doing in the Middle East then?
I don't know. Why is Sinbad there? He ain't from there.
Yeah, he is.
He is?
Yeah, his name's Sinbad.
Well, why are the Vikings down there? That's so far away. What are they doing down there? Idiots.
I don't know why. Like, why is this like an international affair? Like, why
Very
are the
multicultural.
Scottish sorceress and fucking Vikings from like Norway,
yeah,
and Sinbad from the Middle East?
So the Vikings frolic around on the beach for a while Dermot takes the flowers and flies them over to Sinbad's crew. Sinbad realizes that the flowers are sea lavender, and he tells Dermot to take them to the beach.
Cool. Fucking pointless.
So Bret offers Maeve a green apple, and he says he'll take the gag off if she promises not to enchant him. She really wants to just be let go, though, and asks,
"No, can you please not enchant me?
I don't want to be enchanted." She asks,
fucking ridiculous.
She asks Bret and the Vikings to be her tag team partners, basically, to defeat the demon. So, all right, Gwen, a handicap match.
Yeah.
She wants to team up with Bret and the Vikings.
To fight the demon.
The demon.
What is this, 1982?
Yeah. Boss Viking, though, is having none of this shit. He has Bret gag her again, and he explains that they simply can't win this fight against the demon. They've tried before.
Right. They got to sacrifice her or whatever.
Right, exactly. So back to Dermot flying to the beach again.
Fucking Dermot.
As Sinbad and his crew follow closely behind and arrive to the beach as well. Lots of bird shots,
Again, can they stop showing the bird flying? We get it. He flies. Like, stop it. It's like every other scene.
It's like 20% of the footage.
There's 3 types of scenes in this entire thing. There's the Vikings walking. There's Sinbad and his stupid friends walking. And there's the bird. Like that, and it goes in the order of Vikings, bird, Sinbad. Vikings, bird, Sinbad.
Vikings, bird, Sinbad.
It just goes, and it's ridiculous.
So Dermot then leads them up the rocky coast as they joke about the demon ship thing, and we see a nice dusky shot of the Viking crew walking as the sun sets, followed by Sinbad's crew doing the same. The next day, Quinn, the sun is back up and the Vikings are still walking while Bret leads Maeve into some rocky temple or something.
This fucking set is so bad.
It's hideous, right?
It is horrid. It's like an arc thing.
Yeah, you'll see, yeah.
Fucking horrible.
We go inside and they're standing, it's basically like a giant Stonehenge, essentially.
Actually, another description of it, it's like a big pie symbol. It's almost like they found it at, like, again, the Halloween store. They're like the science nerd costume section.
Yeah,
they're like, here's a big foam pie.
Pie, the math number, not apple pie.
3.14444.
Yeah.
I can't name the digits, you math nerds.
It's
like,
fine. I can't either.
3.14. Why does anyone need to know beyond that? They always make such a big deal about it.
You might need to know
Gotta
sometimes.
know 6 digits past the fucking 4.
I don't.
Whatever.
So there's some stupid modulated voice talking to them.
Terrible.
And it's just really bad. It almost sounds like nails.
First of all, that Stonehenge arc thing looks like foam. Second of all, this voice talks as if you were modulating our voices.
What, me in Audacity or something?
Yeah, seriously, it sounds like if you did that to us.
Why don't I do it right now? Let's try it. Hello, Quinn. How are you?
I am the big arc thing.
Oh, no.
I'm not Quinn.
See how that works? That's literally how it sounds. It's like this. It's almost like nails or something.
Boss man,
yeah, boss man.
Put the redhead down. We'll discuss your future tomorrow.
So Nails tells him to wait on the beach as the boss Viking wants Maeve to stay here in Stonehenge or whatever.
We have
Stonehenge
to give
pie.
it. We have to give it to the foam pie.
The foam pie. The Vikings leave and Nails taunts Maeve and says the word rendezvous before she is magically shackled.
This is all bad.
There's like a fire and stuff, right?
It's terrible. There's like a burning bush. Like they're trying to evoke like every like god thing talking that's ever been in a movie.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? A big Stonehenge.
Yep, I get it.
Burning. It's horrible.
It's
They're in a
terrible.
cave.
Yeah.
Like there's shadows. Like it's too many things. It's like if you're gonna do
every trope you can imagine.
If you're gonna do like the Greek god thing as talking to a human, can you at least like pick one trope, not like 3 of them?
Yeah, I know. There's all these mixed imagery and stuff.
Yeah.
And so we cut to the Vikings outside getting all happy about how tomorrow their ship is going to be released from the demon. And then Bret, in my favorite scene of his in this whole movie, he essentially cuts like a 1997 Bret promo
amazing.
on the demon. He's like, he mocks us, he mocks our gods, and we sin, we do nothing about it. It's amazing. It's like a Bret promo.
I'll meet you at the Cobbs County Coliseum, Viking leader.
Yeah, exactly.
Mocks us. He mocks our gods, and we sit like sheep and do nothing about it.
So Bret wants to fight, but the boss reminds him that did not work last time. Back inside, and Nails doofily says that he likes Maeve's hair and shit. Like he's like flirting with her, this voice of
horrible.
Stonehenge.
Yeah.
Sinbad's crew now arrives on the beach, and everyone draws swords. Sinbad asks where Maeve is, and then we see a giant crab.
Fucking giant enemy crab. They like do that shit. Like what in the actual fuck? It's literally like that meme, a giant enemy crab. Right, it's that shit.
So here's this giant enemy crab.
And on top of it, it's literally a crab that, again, they just close up on, and then they put it on a green screen.
Horribly.
And then they literally, like, slapped it against, like, an ocean backdrop.
It looks terrible.
It's horrible.
Even for, like, 1996 standards, it looks really bad.
I can see, like, the fuzz around it where they, like, crappily, like, cut it out on like, some early version of Adobe Premiere. Like,
right.
You know what I mean.
I know exactly what you mean. Bret explains that the demon has betrayed them because this is the demon's monster, apparently. So Sinbad now concocts a plan. Tie up 2 exploding sticks.
Where did he get this from? Well, by the way, he just, like, pulled the dynamite out of his pocket.
That nerdy guy invented it.
Yeah, but
he's got 2 left.
The thing is, Sinbad just acted like he always had. Why didn't they use this on the fucking spider web or whatever? Like,
well, because they were caught in it, so they would have gotten blown up.
True.
See? Yeah. So they place these dynamite sticks near Claw Grip over here as we see some awful CGI again. It explodes Quinn. The crab disappears, and then
this is amazing. I swear I couldn't believe they like. Why didn't they just have it explode and just not?
That was it.
That was it. Like instead they do this.
A giant CGI claw
it's just
falls from the sky.
Okay, and this is the best part. Is you can tell it's just the claw of the crab, and they just cut out the rest of it and just left it there.
That's all it is.
What the fuck?
It's so bad.
Ugh.
So Bret and Sinbad now team up, and they run into the Stonehenge cave to get Maeve out of there. Nails appears, though, sounding like Fat Albert. He's like, no.
Excuse me.
Yeah. He says no one is leaving. So Bret pulls off the shackles with his bare hands, and now Nails finally appears. He's not Stonehenge.
Yeah. Okay, it's like he literally has like a final form or something.
Right.
It's like third form. He was a shadow, a Stonehenge, a fucking burning bush.
And he looks like he's something out of an NES game now, Quinn. Yeah. It's horrible.
He looks like some CG goo fish head thing. It looks like total shit.
It's awful. It's almost indescribable. It's just
that's not even a good description because there's really no other way. He's like scaly.
He's scaly. He's very big.
Yeah. But he's too like gooey all at the same time. He's like
gooey.
shiny.
Yeah.
It's horrible.
It's awful, folks.
It's just like incomprehensible, like nothing.
Correct.
Like it's
good way to put it. It's just like a villain.
Yeah.
There's a very stock, like, this is a bad guy.
It seems like something Shredder would send after the Turtles, like some week.
In the cartoons,
but like not even like a memorable one, just like something. Like,
we're not talking Rat King
enemy
here.
Of the week.
Yeah, this isn't Slash,
yeah,
Metalhead or any of them. Anyway, Maeve simply uses her magic to turn off the fire, and then everyone charges at Nails while Maeve breaks her own shackles on a rock. Bret comes from behind with a waist lock.
It's amazing that he went for like a wrestling move on a CG thing on top of it. Imagine them filming this.
Yeah, what was he actually hugging, I wonder?
Probably just a green square. Like foam,
probably.
Just so that it would look like he was grabbing something.
Do you think this is so old and poorly done that it was still blue screen?
It might have been
in Canada when they did this.
It might have been.
So the boss Viking charges in with his sword, and he's stabbing away at Nails here. I don't know what to call it, the demon thing.
Yeah.
Sinbad just says, fuck it, and this is great. He tosses his sword.
It's amazing.
Yeah. Directly into this thing's fucking head, causing it to glow and yell and disappear.
The demon thing also like yelled forever.
That was
like,
so long.
Yeah! And it's like turning like yellow
and
or
glowing,
something.
Yeah.
And like, you know what I was surprised for like something that's pretty much for kids?
What?
They literally like showed the sword like
sticking
out of its fucking head as it was like exploding like forever too.
Yeah,
like it's
such
not like
a
it was
long
like
death scene.
But it wasn't even like they showed the sword in its head for like a second.
No.
They showed this for like at least a minute.
About a minute.
Which seems like an eternity for like children to see something that violent.
While the guy's going, yeah. Boss Viking, though, unfortunately, is half dead as well. And
what the fuck was in that sword, by the way? I just need to comment.
In
like,
Sinbad's sword?
Yeah, because why did it just like make it explode like that?
Did she make it magic and we missed it or something?
He's like, I got it, and he just like chucked it at it. It was weird.
It was a good effect.
Yeah, thank you.
But Boss Viking is dying, Quinn, and his last words, his dying wish, really, is to command that Bret is the new Viking leader. And I've got to say, that's proof that even in a TV show, Bret has to have the top spot.
The acting stinks, by the way. It's like, Bret Hart, will you please be...
he calls him Bret Hart, too.
Will you please be the leader? Eolf, will you take my spot? Now, it's so bad.
Now, I don't have this in the notes, but this is the perfect time to bring this up. I'm looking at this show this whole time, and I'm looking at the Viking leader.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, this guy looks familiar.
He does look familiar. I noticed the same thing.
So I did some digging.
Mm-hmm. What is he in? I know I've seen him before.
Well, his name is Robin B. Smith, and you, Quinn, and you fans might know him better as the Commandant!
Wait, what? Wait a sec, are you serious? Or really? I was joking with you about this Commandant shit before the show even started. You're telling me that fucking leader guy is the Commandant?
Yes.
How the fuck with this Commandant shit? Who is this guy? Why is he in everything?
He's a character actor, and he is the one that, I guess, got Bret this or vice versa.
Oh, my
because
God.
Bret got him into the WF the following year.
That's unbelievable. What else was the Commandant in? Because I swear I've seen him in other things, too.
You can look him up, Robin B. Smith, and see what he was in. But obviously, the Commandant will be in the WWF the following year, and he is South African, and part of this show was filmed in, you guessed where, South Africa.
Mm-hmm.
So this must be where they met.
That's incredible.
Isn't it?
This fucking Commandant bilked this shit. He played Bret like an idiot.
Yeah, I know. So, as he dies, Bret's like, well, it's okay. He's going to Valhalla.
I can't even believe he said that.
Back outside now, Sinbad's crew and Bret's crew are all jovial with each other, and they thank each other happily, and they say goodbye. And like you said, when the acting is just like,
we're all good friends
Thank
now.
you. Yeah. So Bret gives Maeve his horn hat, and she kisses him on the cheek as Sinbad is all like, what? What the fuck?
Yeah, he's
all
like,
jealous.
wait, I like this sassy girl.
I like sassy Maeve.
Yeah.
Maeve. So Bret leaves to command his new crew as Sinbad gives Maeve some shit about her and Bret. He's like, oh, so you like him, huh?
Yeah. And then all the stupid friends are like, yeah. Like, they're like nudging each other. It's horrible! And they need to shut the fuck up.
And her response is to just put on the Viking hat and happily walk away, which is funny. She's like,
it's horrible.
So that's it. That's the end of the show, Quinn.
Total piece of shit.
I'll tell you this.
It sucked, Joe.
No, it was bad. Yeah. It's a very bad show, but I wasn't
you weren't like
surprised.
Oh no.
You know what I mean?
I mean the minute that it started and there's a kid in an orange sweatshirt walking next to Lady Hercules,
like a vague setting,
you know what the fuck this shit is.
It wasn't worse than I thought it would be. Can I put it that way? I expected it to be, cheaply produced, bad graphics, poor plot lines.
That is some plot line
Bret wasn't any worse than I've seen him in anything else. That's not saying much, but like he was Bret Hart in a thing. Folks.
I keep saying this to you. I always compare it to Sean with the acting because they're very similar.
They're both bad at it.
I have to say this. And this isn't a bias. I really think Bret chose a lot worse roles.
Oh yes,
than Shawn Michaels.
No doubt
Shawn
about it.
was a little more careful, and I know, yes, he was in that weird Green Hulk thing recently, but up until that point, he was never like in something that insane.
Yeah, they're both poor actors. I think Sean probably chose better roles.
Right.
Or got better roles.
Kind of masked his shittiness a little
exactly.
bit better.
Bret's just up front in his shittiness in this. So that was that. I thought it was a pretty good fun time, honestly. The show is bad. It's not that the show is
honestly,
good.
I thought it was one of the more poor versions of these kind of shows I've seen.
Not any worse than Pac Blue.
I'll give it this. It was like it had like a happy-go-lucky ending where it's just like it felt like everything got resolved.
Bret was kind of funny.
That's like what these shows were back then.
Yeah, they
it was
weren't
like
that
these very
dramatic.
like compact stories where it's just like, okay, by the end of the 40 minutes or whatever, that's it.
Well, they're for all ages, right?
Yeah.
They're for all kids. I thought Dermot though did a fantastic job.
Dermot was probably the MVP of this fucking show.
So
it was a total piece of shit though.
Oh, it was. But I guess that's it, folks. So I guess that'll do it for episode number 140. Wait, do you hear that?
No.
Oh, hogwash, of course you do, Quinn. It's Maeve. She's trapped inside the cave. We must rescue her, Dave.
My name is Quinn.
All right, Dave, let's go. First, we dress for combat.
Why are you wrapping my old blanket around your neck?
What's the matter with the clothes I'm wearing? Onward.
Where are we even going?
To the cave, Dave, to rescue Maeve.
There's no Maeve. Is this your idea of being funny?
I am the entertainer, and I know just where I stand.
Could we please just go back to the studio?
There is no time. We must bring the magic potions with us. Let's see. Ah, yes. Bottle of red. Bottle of white.
I'm leaving. You're being absurd.
I would not leave you in times of trouble.
Hey, are you just speaking Billy Joel lyrics now?
You may be right.
It seems such a waste of time. Shit, now you got me doing it.
Well, we have a face that we hide away forever. Now then, we must rescue Maeve. Look! Up there!
Where?
In the sky.
That's the ceiling.
It's Dermot!
Sure it is.
Dermot, lead us to Maeve. Oh, Dave, I hope it isn't true that only the good die young.
I'm gonna have to ask you to stop.
By the way, Davey, are you still in the Navy?
Yes, I probably will be for life.
Yes, you had to be a big shot, didn't you? Oh, no, Dermot, wait! Watch out for that! Glass house. All right, sorry about all that, folks, but...
Yeah, apologies.
Just to give you an idea of what we had to endure, okay?
It was horrible.
But overall, I had fun watching it, I'm not gonna lie, Quinn.
I got through it.
It wasn't hard, right?
It didn't drag.
No, it didn't drag at all. Like I said, it was everything I expected. And folks, I encourage you to check it out, honestly, because it is available, like I said, blatantly on YouTube. I think multiple accounts have the same episode.
I don't think it's in any danger of coming off the internet anytime soon, because I think whoever made it probably doesn't even remember they made it.
Right.
It's that unmemorable.
Well, Quinn, wasn't it funny?
Thrilling.
Love it.
Hilarious.
Yep.
Just really, what a great show.
What a great horn hat that Bret Hart had on.
Oh, it was very nice.
And a blankie and all that. We definitely sat here and listened to it, like we said. We totally did that.
I definitely know every word we said, and I could recite it by heart, but I won't do that for you since you just heard it.
By Bret Hart. Huh.
Yeah.
I definitely didn't just keep the recorder running and we just did the ending part right after.
Yeah,
like, I would never do that.
You definitely didn't say cut before this or any of that. Yeah.
I didn't clap as a...
Yeah.
None of that happened.
No, it's not real.
We sat here and we listened to the whole thing, damn it.
Yeah.
No, but you guys did, and we appreciate those of you that did. We know that sometimes the Vault episodes crop up out of nowhere as a surprise, and guess what? We're only human. Sometimes we need the time off. You know, that's really the bottom line here. However, I do want to thank you guys for being with us, and I want to remind you again, if you're listening to this in real time here in January of 25, we are not coming back next week. We will be back in 2 weeks for a new episode, okay? There will be a new episode the next time, barring any unforeseen circumstances. Right, Quinn?
It's all true.
I think we can say that. The other thing we always like to remind you guys is this was recorded in 2019. We really don't know what we said.
Please don't ask us to comment on it.
Yeah, like,
even though we just listened to it.
Yeah, we listened to it, but we're not going to remember.
Yeah, I won't remember tomorrow.
You guys feel free to comment, but if you're going to like correct something we said 5.5 years ago, then okay.
Yeah,
you're probably right. I don't know.
I mean, the Adventures of Sinbad is very important and worth talking about.
Yeah, it's worth being accurate about.
Yeah.
That's for damn sure. No, but we really hope you guys had fun. We felt that this was a vault-worthy thing to pull out of OVP and immortalize here in episode 104 of Asawash Memories. And like I said, we will be back in 2 weeks for something completely different. Until that time, thank you very much. Keep those cameras safely rolling. I'm Joe Murata, and that's Michael Quinn. We'll see you next time for more Asawash Memories.
See ya.
Like what you heard? Be sure to leave a review and subscribe on your favorite podcast app. We will see you next week.